So Professor Nils-Axel Morner, Niklas Morner to friends.
Yes.
You've been here at the Rome conference for the last 3 days. Has it been productive time?
Oh, my dear friend, it has been overwhelmingly productive for the reason that for the first time there's been a dialogue between those who believe in IPCC, that CO2 is a pollutant, it's bad on planet Earth, and those who think it's rather a fertilizer. And beside that, the mechanism of climate change has absolutely nothing to do with the increase in CO2, but is primarily driven by the sun and a planetary beat upon the sun. So this means that we are in a completely different situation. We don't need all these kind of mitigations and changes, and especially putting money all in fighting CO2. And the same goes for the fantastic paper on the livestock, that they are not bad, even we can continue to eat meat. Everything comes back to a normal thing. There is climate change, but they are natural, ups and downs. They have gone all through history. In the last 8,000 years, when we have been in warm condition, it has several times been much higher, even 2.5 degrees higher than today, but also at rates which are as sharp as it is today.
I mean, with things like the livestock issue, there are obviously other implications there, because livestock, like the insurance policy for subsistence farmers around the world, who, if crops fail, they have the livestock on the hoof that they can eat, and also those livestock provide natural fertilizers for the ground for growing the crops. This is a symbiotic process that shouldn't be disrupted by half-baked science.
You're so right you are. And that's why it was so good that we had a lot of people from developing countries. And for them, it's life important that they can go on with their cattle. And there's nothing wrong with it. But back to science, to the scientific question. We have temperature changes, which are absolutely not driven by it. And we had several absolutely fantastic papers proving this. It's observational facts and experiments and so on. And it's not just ideas which is planted into a group driven by United Nations, because it's driven by United Nations. So many people just don't quarrel about it, or
they swim along with the consensus for an easy life.
It is not a consensus, but they have claimed that it's a consensus. You could see it here, all this very nice. Another thing is that in both these ideas, were good people. There's nothing wrong with the people. It was, we could now for the first time interchange ideas. And I'm sure, and many persons testified for us, that now they will work in a completely. One young man, he was subscribed completely for IPCC, and he had even written a paper where he said that all those who have the other idea, they are deniers and that they are paid by the oil industry. Which of course, now he said, I felt ashamed and said, now he will change all these things. We had a very clever man from Jordan, which is also a teacher. He said, I learned so fantastic. Now I will teach in a completely different way. All those things are important. We had some person which were very, very rigid from the beginning, and then open. And the only thing to do that is to interchange ideas and that is the real essence of a dialogue. That
so
means
jaw, not war, as Churchill said.
No, and this works very. So that is the excellent idea. From my personal point, I also presented absolutely new ideas from the Fiji Island. Fiji Island will be the chairman in the Bonn conference. And they will go on with all this IPCC business. If I say something, they even claim that those are other ideas. They just listen to what they say, real scientists. Real scientists have never been there. They have never done work there. And that doesn't even work in
because you've been doing field work there with Pamela, haven't you?
Pamela, we worked there very hard, very efficient, and the good thing that all the previous papers were devoted to sea level changes 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. No one had looked at the last 500 years. And it's the last 500 years which goes on up to today. And that's what we were able to put a very, very nice and detailed picture through a lot of work.
And I saw in your presentation that, in fact, what you discovered in Fiji fitted in very well with what you've discovered in other parts of the Indian Ocean. And so it corroborates
with the Indian, because this is the Pacific Ocean. And that's why it's so important. And then we could even back up a general context that the main parameter of sea level changes is not up and down due to melting and freezing of ice. It is the redistribution of water mass between the polar area and the equatorial area. And that is driven by changes in the Earth's rate of rotation. So it has nothing to do with CO2 for sure, but it has to do with the solar variability. Not the solar luminosity, I mean light, but with the magnetic storms in solar wind.
This chimes very well with research that other researchers have been doing recently into links between solar variation and changes in Earth's length of day that both seem to be linked to the movement of the planets.
Exactly.
And so we're seeing a solar system-wide. We're broadening a horizon of understanding about climate change by looking at the whole solar system instead of just at the low horizon of the Earth's atmosphere.
So right you are. But that is the real, pure scientific things. So at this meeting, lots of these new ideas were presented. And it was clever people having done a really good research, not sloppy things. It's really top specialists doing new things. And if you confront this with the very rigid idea of CO2, it of course, but we were able to do this in a very good
way.
atmosphere. So we were able to respect each other.
Yes.
And respect and interchange of ideas, that means a nice way forward, not blocked by ideas which tells you what it is. And it was good for them developing country. Many people there like that because they, from this colonial time, they are so accustomed of being ideas are imposed on them. Now instead they get a variety of different opinions. Then they can make their own judgment because that you cannot escape that the IPCC project is very much developed country mechanism and produced by us and
top-down sort of delivery.
It's not good. But now we have...
And time was found in the discussion session when those people were actually able to stand up and make their own comments and contributions. And I think that was well appreciated. Important.
And I had been hoping for this, but it meant that we should have some gaps in the program. And that's what I told all that. We should come. But of course, you have a background for this. Because originally, this meeting should be only people subscribing for IPCC. That was the whole meaning with it. Because we had the idea planted in, some people even said that we have hijacked it and destroyed the picture. But I think now, today, everybody left happy. Because they have learned. And this is really the first time different opinions have been discussed with each other. And I'm so satisfied because as wonderful it is to meet colleagues and talk to them at meeting, the more important it is to have a meeting like this. So this is one of the most important meetings we have had, I think. That is climate for climate's own sake, not for some imposed carbon dioxide ideas.
Well, we must take what we've done here and continue it into the future of our future meetings and make sure that everybody's included.
Yes, but I think this is a good. I hear many of those who were very rigid on carbon dioxide and IPCC lovers. They are now open in a completely different way. But we have also, everybody need to listen. This is the part of science. You know, the day you close your ears, then you are gone. I mean, I'm an old man, but every day I try to learn something. You know, this is how science is proceeding. Yeah.
Wonderful, Professor Morner. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.